Have you ever wondered why a $5,000 bag holds such immense value? It is not just about what you see on the gleaming shelves of Paris. The true worth lies in the shadows, hidden within the fires and blades that guard the sanctity of a legendary name. This is the world of perfection. Look closer. A digital caliper measures a gap of exactly 0.5 millimeters. For most, it is invisible. For Louis Vuitton, it is a failure. One minor deviation, one microscopic flaw, and the journey ends here. Welcome to a realm where excellence is defined by what is brutally cast aside today. In an act of cold precision, a masterpiece is sliced in half. There is no room for sentimentality when the reputation of a century is at stake. This is the paradox of luxury. To maintain the highest standard, the brand must be its own harshest critic, destroying what others would call a dream. 40% of all production never reaches the light of day. It is a staggering figure that ensures only the absolute best survives for the client. To understand this cruelty, we must step inside the legendary Asnieres workshop, where time itself is the most precious material used in every single stitch. Within these historic walls, the air is thick with the scent of premium leather and the weight of a legacy spanning over 165 years. Every product leaving this floor carries with it 15 hours of intense manual labor. It is a slow, methodical dance between human touch and raw material. The process begins with the selection of the world's finest hides. Only the top tier of leather is even considered for the initial cutting stage. A single scar from a bramble or an insect bite on the animal's skin means the entire section is discarded. Nothing less than flawless is acceptable. The stitching is an art form in itself. Each needle strike is calculated, ensuring the tension is uniform across every inch of the finished product. Tradition lives in the hands of the masters. Some of these craftsmen have spent decades perfecting the way they hammer a single copper nail. Every rivet is placed with absolute accuracy. This is the structural integrity that allows Louis Vuitton trunk to last for several generations of travel. They bridge the gap between the past and the present. Modern designs still rely on the foundational blueprints laid out by Louis Vuitton himself in 1854. Patience is a mandatory ingredient. The iconic canvas is often left to rest for months, allowing the material to stabilize before a single cut is made. A single second of haste could ruin a piece of history. In this workshop, the clock is ignored in favor of the artisan's internal rhythm. While the world outside accelerates, the core values here remain unchanged. The dedication to craft is a constant in an ever-changing fashion landscape. Details are everything. Even the thread is treated to resist the elements, ensuring that the bag remains as strong as the day it was created. The artisans are the guardians of the brand's soul. Their eyes are trained to see what machines cannot. The subtle soul within the leather. Hardware is tested against corrosion and wear. Every zipper must glide perfectly and every lock must click with a satisfying, expensive sound of quality. When a bag is finally finished, it is more than just an accessory. It is a vessel of time, skill, and an unwavering commitment to beauty. But now we enter the most feared room in the facility. The Quality Control Center, a cold, sterile environment where dreams often come to an end. 0.5 millimeters. That is the width of a human hair. In the eyes of Louis Vuitton, that is the difference between art and trash. The alignment must be mathematical. If the monogram is cut off by even a fraction of a degree, the bag is immediately marked for rejection. Under the microscope, any microscopic pore or structural weakness is exposed. There is nowhere to hide from the gaze of the master inspectors. These inspectors have hands that are more sensitive than sensors. They can feel a slight variation in thickness that no machine could ever detect. The canvas itself is a marvel of engineering composed of 5 distinct layers. If even one layer fails to bond perfectly, the entire batch is halted. Durability is tested to the extreme. Clasps are opened thousands of times to ensure they never lose their tension or their signature metallic ring. They simulate years of wear in just a few days. If the leather fades or the stitching weakens under pressure, the design is considered a failure. A single frayed fiber. Most brands would ignore it. Here it is an insult to the heritage. The bag is instantly removed from the line. There are no factory seconds at Louis Vuitton. There are no outlet malls where you can find products with minor, barely noticeable defects. The discipline is ironclad. This uncompromising standard is what separates a luxury item from a mass-market commodity that is simply meant to be consumed. In this room, the brand's reputation is defended every single day. Silence is the only sound of such a high-stakes, high-precision environment, Even the parts you will never see, like the inner lining, must be perfect. The sole of the bag must be as beautiful as its face. It is a heartbreaking sight for a craftsman, but it is a necessary ritual. Perfection cannot exist without the courage to destroy the near perfect. That 0.5 millimeters is the boundary of the LV kingdom. Cross it, and you are no longer part of the legend. Now we move to the final destination for 40% of the work, the furnace. This is where the pride of the brand is forged. These bags look flawless to the untrained eye. They could be sold for thousands, yet they sit here waiting for their total and absolute destruction. Why burn them? Why not have a sale? Because Louis Vuitton does not sell bags, they sell the absolute certainty of possessing the world's best. By burning the imperfect, they protect the value of the perfect. Every bag that survives is backed by the sacrifice of its rejected brothers. The manager watches the flames. This is not a loss of money, it is a long-term investment in the brand's soul and global prestige. Even the gold-plated logos must perish. No part of a rejected product can be allowed to exist in the outside world ever. For those not burned, the shredder awaits. This ensures that no counterfeiters can ever scavenge materials or parts from a genuine factory rejection. The destruction is total. It is a violent end to a journey that began with such delicate care in the quiet workshops of Asnières. These fragments are all that remains of the 40%, a mountain of potential wealth reduced to industrial waste in the name of quality. The fire is a cleanser. It removes any doubt that the customer might be buying anything less than 100% of what was promised. In these ashes lies the secret to their power. The willingness to burn profit is the ultimate proof of a brand's true luxury status. The world rarely sees this side of fashion. Behind the glamour of the runway lies the smoke of the furnace, the hidden engine of exclusivity. The ritual is complete. The standards have been upheld, the market remains pure, and the brand's legendary status is once again secured for today. This space will be filled again tomorrow. The cycle of creation and destruction is a never-ending process in the pursuit of the absolute. Every single detail, down to the smallest rivet, is accounted for. Nothing escapes the furnace if it does not meet the golden standard. The contrast is startling. From the heat of the furnace to the cool, air-conditioned luxury of the boutique, the transition is seamless for the world. They do not know the fire this bag has survived. They only feel the perfection of the leather and the weight of the history it carries. The destruction of the many makes the possession of the one a truly rare privilege. This is the calculated math of global high fashion. A brand that refuses to compromise on its failures is a brand that can never be truly challenged by its competitors in the market. Welcome to the final stage of the strategy. This is where scarcity is transformed into a powerful, almost religious, sense of global desire. The bag on that arm is a survivor of a brutal selection process. It represents status because everyone knows it cannot be easily obtained or replicated. Scarcity creates value. By limiting the supply through extreme quality control, Louis Vuitton ensures that their products are always in higher demand than supply. Look at the numbers. While other assets fluctuate, the value of a classic Louis Vuitton bag has shown a consistent and remarkable upward trend for decades. This is an investment that lasts. Because of the 0.5 millimeter rule, a bag bought today will still be a masterpiece for your grandchildren. The brand's power comes from its refusal to be ordinary. They don't just sell leather, they sell a commitment to the absolute best in human craft. The marketing is effortless because the product speaks for itself. The world respects a brand that would rather burn its work than accept mediocrity. It is a total ecosystem of excellence. From the first cut of the leather to the final sale, the standard of perfection remains exactly the same. That stamp is a promise. It carries the weight of thousands of rejected pieces and the pride of the artisans who finally passed the ultimate test. In the City of Light, the brand shines the brightest because it is built on a foundation of iron discipline and an obsession with tiny details. They aren't just taking home a bag, they are taking home the survivor of a 40% cut, a true victor in the war of perfection. As we return to the quiet workshop, we see the final act of creation. This is where the journey of a legacy truly begins every day. Perfection does not come from what we create, it comes from what we are brave enough to let go of and what we dare to destroy. Louis Vuitton is a name that means cruelty to some, but to those who value art, it is the ultimate symbol of a timeless heritage. 165 years, 15 hours per piece, 0.5 millimeters, 40% destroyed. These are the numbers of an immortal legacy. When you hold a piece of this history, ask yourself, are you buying a simple handbag or are you buying the result of an iron discipline? The answer is always there, hidden in that tiny gap. The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary is exactly 0.5 millimeters. In the world of luxury, the price of perfection is total, and for Louis Vuitton, that is a price they are always willing to pay.